later on The Tonight Show. Day investigates laws of attraction's Pierce Brosnan. Plus tunes from Janet Jackson. And the Fruitcake Lady's back. Your local news is next.
You're watching NBC for New York. And now, Chuck Scarborough, Sue Simmons, Janice Huff, and Len Berman. This is News Channel 4 at 11.
It was never intended for America. It was never intended for anything.
The so-called missile man accused of trying to help terrorists kill Americans. Tonight, his side of the story in a News Channel 4 exclusive.
Two narcotics officers' encounter with a drug suspect in a Brooklyn park ends in gunfire.
Not one, but two women accuse a doctor at this hospital of sexually abusing them. Good evening. Tonight, that doctor is out of a job, and he may spend up to a year in jail.
A physician's hands are meant to heal, but tonight detectives say one doctor went too far and wound up in handcuffs. The charge? Sexual abuse. Rob Morrison is live on the Upper East Side with the latest. Rob?
So the doctor was in the second year of his residency program here at Metropolitan Hospital. Tonight he's charged with second and third degree sex abuse and forcible touching. The victims, a woman in her 40s and a woman in her 50s, told police Dr. Walter Calderon groped and fondled them during separate medical examinations here at Metropolitan Hospital. The DA says the victims' stories are nearly identical. Calderon was arrested last night. Today, the hospital said Dr. Calderon has resigned from his post as a second-year resident physician in training at the hospital. Calderon, a 34-year-old native of Peru, lives at this Crescent Street address in Queens. Neighbors say with his wife and two children. Today, a woman believed to be his wife avoided our cameras, but the building super said she called him crying and asking for help.
Yeah, she said she needed help, that her husband left and she got no money for the subway. She got to go pick up some papers. So I told my wife she should give her some money, $20 something.
This is not the first time Calderon has faced such accusations. The hospital says in September 2003, he was accused of performing an improper examination on a female patient. Calderon was suspended, but the NYPD dropped the investigation because of lack of evidence. The hospital says the resident was reinstated with a signed stipulation that all further examinations of female patients be conducted in the company of an appropriate chaperone. They say Calderon violated that agreement during the exams that led to these most recent charges. People at the hospital tonight were shocked.
That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. I don't know that doctor, and as far as I know, Metropolitan Hospital is a fine center.
Like I said, I don't understand why they kept him from the first time, period. He shouldn't have been here.
This is the second time in as many weeks a city doctor has been charged with sexually abusing his patients. A first-year resident at Harlem Hospital is currently on unpaid leave, pending the outcome of a similar investigation. On the Upper East Side, Rob Morrison, News Channel 4.
A drug deal went bad in Brooklyn. Police opened fire on the suspect, and tonight that man is in critical condition. Vivian Lee is live in Bushwick now with a story for us. Vivian?
Chuck, officers with the crime scene unit just wrapped up the scene here at Maria Hernandez Park about an hour ago. This after an incident where two drug squad detectives, came upon an incident where one of them was forced to fire his weapon. And according to sources who talked to News Channel 4 this evening, this detective felt he had to pull out his weapon in response to one of the suspects allegedly pulling out a weapon himself. Shortly after 6 p.m., a shot rang out in Maria Hernandez Park in Bushwick, and scores of people enjoying the evening weather scattered in panic.
Everybody was playing, they was playing handball, baseball, football, volleyball, the kids playing on the playground, I just heard the gunshot, and when I came here, I was seeing him laying on the floor.
Police sources tell News Channel 4 two plainclothes narcotics detectives entered the park with two Hispanic males. When one of the suspects pulled a knife, one of the detectives withdrew and fired his gun. 22-year-old Jimmy Rivera was shot in the stomach and taken to Elmhurst Hospital. The NYPD confirms the two detectives were on an unspecified narcotics operation. Rivera's mother, who arrived at the scene after combing area hospitals for her son, was overcome with anger.
Ellos podían arrestarlo tranquilamente sin tener que tirarlo de la bicicleta y meterle un tiro.
Why the police don't arrest him, and shot him? Why? We want to know why.
Rivera's uncle says his nephew arrived in the city from Puerto Rico several months ago and was not involved in drugs.
No veo, pero era una persona buena, tranquila, que yo sepa no se mete con nadie así.
He said that he's a quiet, calm person, that he don't get into people like that.
Now, Jimmy Rivera remains in critical condition. He is undergoing surgery at this moment at Elmhurst Hospital. There are charges pending against both suspects. We don't know at this moment what the nature of those charges would be. Meanwhile, Internal Affairs is waiting to speak with the two detectives involved with this shooting tonight. And the irony in this case is the fact that this park was named after a person, Maria Hernandez, who actively fought hard to try and rid this neighborhood of drug-related crime. Reporting live in Bushwick, I'm Vivian Lee, News Channel 4.
Vivian, thank you. Tonight, police are searching for a man on a robbery spree. He always pulls a knife on his victims. There are 9 unsolved holdups in Hamilton Heights since late January. Police have released surveillance photos, hoping that someone will recognize the suspect. He's believed to be about 18 to 20 years old, about 5'8" to 6 feet tall, weighing 170 pounds. If you have any information, police are asking you to call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-577-TIPS.
The jury in the Jason Williams trial will return to work tomorrow after telling the judge today they have reached a partial verdict, deciding whether the former NBA star is guilty on 6 of the 8 charges in his manslaughter trial. The judge ordered the panel to try again tomorrow to reach a decision on those final 2 counts.
I know that you've been very diligent in your deliberations in this case, and you're paying attention to the course during the course of the trial, and we appreciate all of that. But let me indicate to you that we are going to ask you to continue in your deliberations.
The charges against Williams stem from the shooting death of limo driver Gus Christofi in February of 2002.
Raise income taxes on the rich in New Jersey and give bigger property tax rebates to almost everyone else. That's the centerpiece of a controversial tax reform plan proposed by Governor Jim McGreevey. McGreevey wants to triple middle-class property tax rebates to $800. Rebates to seniors would rise to $1,200. The bulk of the money would come from those making more than $500,000 a year. The proposal breaks McGreevey's campaign promise not to raise income taxes.
The 9/11 Commission said it was an extraordinary day at the Oval Office today. Tonight's big question, though, what did the commissioners learn from their 3 hours of questions for the president and vice president? Political reporter Jada Dapper is in Washington.
The commission members agreed in advance they would not talk about the session. But not long after the 3-hour, 10-minute meeting finished, the president came to the Rose Garden to give his impressions.
The vice president and I just finished a good conversation with the 911 Commission. It was wide-ranging. It was important. It was just a good discussion.
Although he wouldn't say what the topics were, the major areas of questioning were made clear during the commission's public hearings over the last 5 weeks. Is Richard Clark right? Was fighting terrorism not a priority in the 8 months leading up to 9/11? And what effect did that August 6th presidential daily briefing have? The briefing that reported al-Qaeda operatives were in the U.S. looking to strike. The commissioners were allowed a single note-taker to accompany them. The ground rules, no tape recorders, no pictures, and that the president and vice president would appear together or not at all. Why?
If we had something to hide, we wouldn't have met with them in the first place. We answered all their questions.
Many family members were pleased to hear that, but wished they'd been able to hear it with their own ears.
We had such a catastrophic failure on September 11th on the part of so many levels of government that, what's to keep secret? We need to know so that it gets fixed.
Late in the day, the commission released a report saying that the answers from the president and vice president would be helpful in their putting together the final report. That is due at the end of July. First, there is another set of public hearings, this time in New York in mid-May. It will feature, among others, Rudy Giuliani. At the White House, Jedi Dapper, News Channel 4.
The tense standoff between U.S. forces and Iraqi insurgents in Fallujah may be a step closer to ending tonight. U.S. Marines and former Iraqi generals are negotiating a deal to move American forces out of the embattled city. Security in Fallujah would be handed over to a former general under Saddam Hussein. The developments in Fallujah came as another 10 U.S. troops lost their lives today in Iraq. 8 of those soldiers were killed when a car bomb exploded near a convoy of soldiers just south of Baghdad.
The man accused of trying to help terrorists shoot down airplanes speaks out for the first time. Tonight, from his jail cell, the so-called Missile Man tells his story only on News Channel 4 in 60 seconds. Well, he is accused of wanting to help terrorists shoot down U.S. airliners, and the FBI says he searched the globe looking for missiles to do just that.
But tonight, the suspect says he's a pro-Western businessman, not a terrorist. In an exclusive interview with Jonathan Dienst, the so-called missile man says he was set up by a paid government informant. Jonathan.
Sue, Chuck, since his arrest last August, there have been questions about the case against the so-called missile man, whether he really wanted to help terrorists get a missile into the U.S. In our interview, this British national claims he was just living his life as a businessman when he says he crossed paths with the FBI's informant.
Let me tell you, sir, I never intended to do this thing.
That's his story. The FBI says this is the man who wanted to help terrorists get missiles to shoot down U.S. airliners. From behind bars in the Passaic County Jail, Hemant Lakhani, speaking out for the first time, claims he was framed, that he never plotted to kill Americans.
The whole thing, was a setup game. I was not in this terrorism game. I'm Hindu. I am non-violent person completely. I'm not a member of any militant organizations or Hamas or Al-Qaeda or anything.
It was back in August when Lakhani was arrested in an FBI sting operation. Prosecutors say Lakhani wanted to cash in on the sale of deadly arms to terrorists.
The arms dealing he was engaging in was being engaged in to attempt to kill American citizens.
But the man trying to buy the missiles was no terrorist. He was actually an FBI informant. NewsChannel 4 has obtained surveillance video that shows meetings between Lakhani and the informant. Several of those meetings happened here at this hotel, just a short distance from Newark Liberty Airport. Lakhani, who has no criminal record, claims it was the FBI's informant who repeatedly sought him out.
There is a guy who is already a criminal guy, trying to make an innocent person and teach him how to make a crime. I think this itself is a very bad thing.
But why did you continue to go through and try to help him if you knew it was illegal?
Mr. John, I told him several times that it's not my line, it's not my cup of tea, I don't want to get involved in it. He was continuously pestering me, by offering me so many temptations.
Among the temptations, Lakhani says the informant promised him huge sums of cash if he could get the missiles. We agreed not to show the informant's face. The talks between the two men are not in English, but in Hindi and Urdu. U.S. Attorney Chris Christie summed up translations of Lakhani's statements this way.
He, on many occasions in recorded conversations, referred to Americans as bastards, Osama bin Laden as a hero.
Because they hear from the government, significant arms dealer, praises bin Laden.
There are so many inaccuracies in the whole transcript. I never praised bin Laden in the first place, never. And I never will, and I never have.
Starting in late 2001, Lakhani says it was the FBI's informant who first reached out to him, first suggested the missile deal, first suggested it be done illegally. 16 months later, it ended when Russian intelligence officers, as part of the sting, helped Lakhani get a non-functioning missile, a dud, sent to Newark.
The defense is entrapment. The government is not allowed to plant in the mind of a person, an otherwise innocent person, the idea of committing a crime, and then give him the means to commit that crime. And that's exactly what the government did in this case.
But the FBI says Lakhani himself crossed the globe, actively looking for a missile, traveling at times to Ukraine and Russia, meeting with arms manufacturers, trying to get his hands on the weapon. The FBI moved in. Lakhani is 69 years old, a British national who moved to London from India nearly 50 years ago. Lakhani says he and his wife have been involved in community events in London. He says he even met with Prince Charles at Windsor Castle. Do you want people to feel sorry for you?
Yes, I do. Because I enrolled with the wrong man for a wrong purpose. And for which I am very sorry, I am extremely sorry, and I will never forgive myself. And I always feel that way, that bad moral corrupts good morality. And this, I am a victim of that.
So just who is the FBI's informant and how did Lakhani meet him? The answer could lie in part with an encounter Lakhani says he had with a real terror suspect, a suspect believed responsible for a series of bombings overseas. All that tomorrow on Live at 5 in part 2 of our story. Sue, Chuck.
Jonathan Deans, thank you. Still to come, what's next for Michael Jackson? The King of Pop is preparing for his next big performance in court.
Also ahead, a beautiful day today, but will it be 2 in a row? Janice's forecast next.
Fans of Michael Jackson are holding a candlelight vigil tonight as the pop star prepares for his arraignment tomorrow on charges of molesting a child. Security is tight at the courthouse in Santa Barbara. Jackson has reportedly returned to his Neverland ranch. Last November, he claimed he would never live there again after police searched it. NBC News has also learned the Jackson family is closing ranks after a conference call by Michael earlier this week. There are reports the entire Jackson clan will attend his arraignment in a show of support.
They've not been able to go see him. They've not been able to see for themselves that he's fine.
Tomorrow morning, Jackson will be accompanied by his new lawyer, Thomas Mesereau. He fired his 2 lead attorneys earlier this week.
Well, it's time for the weather now, and it was a lovely day today. More to come.
It'll be a lovely day tomorrow. Things will kind of start to go downhill as we go into the weekend. We're expecting more rain by Sunday, maybe a little bit Saturday night, too. We'll take a closer look coming up in just a moment. But the temperatures are definitely warm and pleasant. Let's take a look outside. Right now, we have readings that are kind of varied around the area, depending on your location. It's in the low 60s right now in Midtown, partly cloudy skies, but some of the areas out over the island are cooler, and some of the inland areas are even warmer than that. Little Egg Harbor Island elementary school, right now the temperature 55 degrees, a high 68 for you today, even right along your shore area. Not too bad at all, but south-facing shores were much cooler. Be the same thing again tomorrow. Southwest winds been gusting from time to time all day long. That'll be the same case tomorrow. It'll be quite breezy. Right now, out of the southwest, 16. Relative humidity, 54%. Pressure steady, 30.28. 77 degrees the high today. The average high is 66, and today's temperatures almost 20 degrees warmer over yesterday. Records none set today. It's just nice to look at them, though. 89 degrees set in 1974, and 1874, 32 was the record low temperature. Now, check out these temperatures now. It's 50 in Montauk, 56 in Bridgeport. Still seeing that flow onshore over the ocean, so you're cool there. Meanwhile, inland areas, Morristown 72 degrees right now, the city 63, and Newark 65. So the closer you are to the ocean, the cooler it is, and that's due to the southerly wind. As we scan across the country, complex system of thunderstorms, severe weather across Mississippi, Alabama tonight, some high clouds streaming in our direction from the west. No rain clouds yet, but there is a front out here, and it will start to make its way closer and closer to us going into the weekend, and that's when we're expecting a chance for showers. Right now, these high clouds really won't get in the way of anything. The sun will be able to shine through tomorrow, and the temperatures are expected to warm up into the 70s, near 80 once again tomorrow afternoon. So for tonight, partly cloudy and mild, a low of 59 in the city. Tomorrow morning will start out pretty mild, too, with temperatures in the low 60s, low to mid 60s, upper 70s to near 80 tomorrow afternoon. Warm and breezy. Checking out the 5-day forecast, stormy weather for Sunday. It may come as early as Saturday night, though, and then much cooler next week. We're looking at 60s, but that's pretty close to where we would be for this time of the year anyway. That's your weather. Thank you.
Thank you, Janice. Well, you know, heating oil is expensive enough, but what if you're getting gallons of air pumped into your tank? Next, we're going to tell you what oil companies are accused of shortchanging their customers.
And Derek Jeter breaks out in a very big way, finally, and it was contagious.
And we'll take a look at the Kentucky Derby favorite, Bruce Orts from Churchill Down.
Len Berman, our clairvoyant sportscaster, didn't you say something? I think this is the night.
I said it's 6, yeah. Well,